Good evening, my dear audience. It might be morning or afternoon in your country, so let me simply say hello, my dear friends. Welcome to the 11th live podcast on my YouTube channel. Today is January 26, 2025. We have an amazing lineup of music tonight, as always. The fantastic band, known for their beautiful songs and meaningful lyrics. They are a progressive rock band with elements of soft and symphonic rock. You'll also catch hints of funk, jazz, pop and disco in their repertoire. The band has only two main members who are also its founders. Other musicians serve as session players for specific studio recordings or live performances. Of course, over the years, some artists have played significant roles and left their mark on the band's history. Tonight we have a 70s and 80s British progressive rock band named after one of its two members. I'm sure some of you already know who I'm talking about. We've got a lot of songs lined up, so I'll be shortening them to fit everything in. Without further ado, let's not waste the time. Please welcome the Alan Parsons Project with their first song, I Wouldn't Want to Be Like You. The song I Wouldn't Want to Be Like You is from the Alan Parsons Project's second album, I, Robot, released in 1977. All the songs in the band are credited to Alan Parsons and Eric Woolfson's songwriting partnership. It was sung by their longtime collaborator Lenny Zacatec, who ended up performing many of their songs. In the United States, the song had moderate success, reaching number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100. Duncan McKee on keyboards, Andrew Powell on the Hammond organ. The vocal team included some amazing singers: Lenny Zacatec, Alan Clark, Steve Harley, Jack Harris, Peter Straker, Jackie Whitren, Dave Thompson and Hilary Western. The orchestra and choir were arranged and conducted by Andrew Powell. Eric Woolfson played the clavinet, Rhodes, Wurlitzer and piano. Jan Bernson on electric and acoustic guitars. He's the one playing the beautiful guitar solo in the song we are listening to now. The album was produced and engineered by Alan Parsons and Eric Woolfson. Alan Parsons met Eric Woolfson in the Abbey Road studios back in the summer of 1974. At the time, Parsons had worked as an assistant engineer on the Beatles albums Abbey Road and Let It Be. He'd also engineered Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, released in 1973, and produced a bunch of acts for EMI Records. Woolfson, meanwhile, was a songwriter and composer working as a session pianist while dreaming up a concept album inspired by Edgar Allan Poe's work. Looking back at his earlier Edgar Allan Poe material, Woolfson came up with the idea to combine his skills with Parsons. Parsons handled the production and engineering while the two worked together on the writing and composing. And that's how the first Alan Parsons project got started. The debut album Tales of Mystery and Imagination, released in 1976, came out under 20th Century Fox Records and featured big contributions from members of Pilot and Ambrosia. It was a hit, making it into the top 40 on the US Billboard 200 chart.
Thus quoth the raven, nevermore.
One standout track, The Raven, had lead vocals by actor Leonard Whiten. He's the one who plays Romeo in Zeffirelli's 1968 movie Romeo and Juliet. According to the liner notes of the 2007 remastered album, this was the first rock song to feature a vocoder, with Parsons speaking the lyrics through it, though pioneers like Bruce Haag had been experimenting with vocoders a decade earlier. Alan Parsons was born on December 20, 1948 in Willesden, London. Almost everyone in his family was involved with music and arts. His great-grandfather, Sir Herbert Beerbohm III, was a famous actor and manager. His mother was an actress, folk singer and harpist, while his father, Dennis Parsons, was a pianist, flautist and author. In his teens, Alan played folk and blues music, performing as a lead guitarist in the blues band called The Earth in the late 60s. But when Alan started working at Abbey Road Studios at 19, it was clear that sound recording would become his main focus.
Tries to linger as it fills my eyes till it disappears. Could it be that somebody else?
We are now listening to the third track of the album I, Robot, called Some Other Time. The vocals in the song are performed by Jackie Withron and Peter Straker.
Some other place, somewhere, some other time.
According to the band's website, Paul McCartney unintentionally inspired the title. When Parsons asked McCartney to read a line of poetry for their first album as a favor in return for something Parsons had done for him, McCartney replied, "Some other time, Alan, some other time." That sparked the idea for the song's title.
Look at me now, the shadow of the man I used to be.
After landing a job in EMI's tape duplication department, Parsons got to hear the master tape for Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and decided to talk his way into a gig at Abbey Road Studios. In October 1967, at just 18, he started as an assistant engineer there.
The times in my life when I could not bear to lose a simple game, and the least of it all was the fortune and the fame. But the dream seemed to end just as soon as it had begun. Was I to know, for the last thing of all that was on my mind was the close at the end of the show, the shadow of a lonely man who feels nobody else, in the shadow of a lonely, lonely man. I can see myself.
He worked as a tape operator during the Beatles' Get Back sessions and got his first credit on the Abbey Road album. Parsons became a regular at Abbey Road, working on projects like Wings, Wildfire and Red Rose Speedway, 5 albums by The Hollies, and the Pink Floyd's The Dark Side of the Moon, which earned him the first Grammy nomination.
But the sound of the crowds when they come to see me now is not the same, and the jest of it all is I can't recall my name. But I'll cling to a hope till I can't hold on anymore, anymore. And for all the acclaim, I am all alone, and I see as I look through the door the shadow of a lonely man. There's nobody else in the shadow of a lonely, lonely man. I can see myself.
Talking about Dark Side of the Moon, Parsons said, "It was frustrating that I didn't get the full engineering credit because Chris Thomas came in as the mixing supervisor. I'd been working on the album for a year and knew it inside out by the mixing stage. There were times I disagreed with Chris, especially about using limiting and compression, which I'm not a fan of. But later I got to mix the album my way when I did the quadraphonic version." The song we are listening to is called Shadow of the Lonely Man from the 1978 album Pyramid. The lead vocals are by Jack Harris. Even though Alan Parsons was a skilled vocalist, keyboardist, bassist, guitarist, and flutist, he rarely sang on his albums, sticking mostly to occasional and background vocals like in the song Time. His keyboard work stood out in the Alan Parsons Project, but you won't hear much of his flute playing on recordings. For a while he went back to managing Abbey Road Studios and kept up with selective production gigs for other bands. Of all his collaborators, like singer Lenny Zakatek, guitarist Ian Bernson worked with Parsons the longest, including Parsons' post-project albums Try Anything Once, On Air, The Time Machine, and The Secret. Chris Thompson joined Alan Parsons' band for his first solo album after the split of the Alan Parsons Project and was also one of the two frontmen on the ensuing tour, which was captured on the album Alan Parsons Live. The song you're listening to is Damned If I Do from their fourth studio album Eve, released in 1979. Lenny Zakatek is the vocalist on this track. The Alan Parsons Project is first and foremost about music, which is why they have so many beautiful instrumental pieces. Their songs have left a significant mark on the music of our generation. Many melodies that people recognize but can't place are in fact from the Alan Parsons Project. Whether it's music for a symphonic orchestra, a choir, electronic tracks with cybernetic elements, or heartfelt ballads, their work continues to resonate. This beautiful piece, Lucifer, is the opening track of the album Eve. The song features Morse code, first heard at the beginning, which Parsons extracted from shortwave radio without knowing its content. Though later translated, he noted it contained nothing noteworthy. The name Eve is also played in Morse code on the keyboard. The album explores the powerful influence of women on men, often focusing on their ability to challenge male ego, especially through seduction, echoing Eve's temptation of Adam. Let's name the musicians who worked on this album. Alan Parsons, guitars, auto harp, drum machine, Morse code, keyboards. Eric Wolfson, clavinet, piano, music box, Wurlitzer, keyboards, organ. Duncan McKee, piano, music box, keyboards. Ian Bernson, guitars, David Payton, bass guitar, lead vocal on track 3. Stuart Elliott, drums and percussion. Lenny Zakatek, lead vocal on tracks 2 and 6. Dave Townsend, lead vocal on track 4. Claire Torrey, lead vocal on track 7, Leslie Duncan, lead vocal on track 9, Chris Rainbow, backing vocals and lead vocal on track 5, and Andrew Powell, orchestral arrangements and conductor of the orchestra. Alright, now, let's talk about my favorite band member. Eric Norman Wilson was born on March 18, 1945, into a Jewish family in Glasgow, Scotland, near Charing Cross, where his family ran the Elders Furniture Store. He grew up in the Pollokshields on the city's south side and went to the High School of Glasgow. Inspired by an uncle, Eric got into music and taught himself piano. After school, he considered becoming an accountant, but quickly detached that idea and headed to London to chase his music dreams.
The tide waits for me. Who knows when we shall meet again? If ever. But time keeps flowing like a river to the sea, to the sea, till it's gone forever.
Upon Eric's arrival in London in 1963, he started working as a session pianist. Before long, Andrew Loog Oldham, the Rolling Stones producer at that time, signed him as a songwriter. Over the next few years, Eric wrote songs for big names like Marine Faithfull, Frank Eifeld, Joe Dassin, The Tremolos, Marmalade, Dave Berry, Peter Noone and The Poets. His songs kept catching on, and he signed more publishing deals as artists across Europe and the US picked them up. He even landed a deal with Southern Music, where he got to work alongside legends like Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice.
Who knows where we shall meet again? If ever. The time keeps flowing like
The song you're listening to is called Time. It's from Alan Parsons' fifth studio album, The Turn of a Friendly Card. This is not only my favorite song from the album, but also one of my all-time favorites from the band. Eric Wolfson delivers an absolutely beautiful vocal performance on this track. The album The Turn of a Friendly Card was released on November 7, 1980, and Time itself was released as a single in 1981.
Where do we go from here, now that all of the children are growing up? And how do we spend our lives if there's no one to lend us a hand? I don't wanna live here no more. I don't wanna stay here. Ain't gonna spend the rest of my life quietly fading away. Give people play, you take it or you leave it. Think that they say, hard or bright. If I promise you the moon and the stars, would you believe it? Give people play in the middle of the night. Where do we go?
Games People Play is the song we are currently listening to. It is the second track from the album The Turn of a Friendly Card. Lenny Zakatek is the lead singer on this track. The song was also released as a single and picked number 16 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, as well as number 18 on the Cashbox chart.
I don't wanna live here no more. I don't wanna stay here. Ain't gonna spend the rest of my life quietly fading away. Yeah. Give people play, you take it or you leave it. Think that they say, just don't make it right. If I'm telling you the truth right now, do you believe it? Give people play in the middle of the night.
It is worth mentioning that unlike most groups, the Alan Parsons Project never performed live during its heyday, although it did release several music videos. The band's only live performance during its original incarnation took place in 1990. This event, known as the Alan Parsons Project The Night of the Proms, was held at the Sport Palace in Merksem, Belgium. For those who may not know, Night of the Proms is Europe's largest annual indoor concert event. Since 1985, it has been held in Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, and Luxembourg, with additional shows in countries like France, Spain, and the United States. It all started from the UK though, particularly from London Royal Albert Hall, with the name Last Night of the Proms. The event blends pop and classical music featuring renowned musicians and groups. course, the Alan Parsons Project has continued performing live and remains active, recording new songs while touring around the world. It is worth noting that from their first live appearance to the present day, the excitement and passion the musicians exhibit on stage is truly beyond words. They are literally jumping on the stage, all with smiling faces.
Don't think sorry's easily said. Don't try turning tables instead.
I believe it's because of the music Alan Parsons and Eric Woolfson have composed. Their music is particularly crafted for musicians. Keyboardists get to play with such beautiful sounds, enhanced by rich chords and harmonies. The instrumental parts are filled with captivating melodies, and guitarists deliver unforgettable solos that combine power and sensitivity. This is music created with musicians in mind, which is why there is always a great vibe on stage during their performances.
I've heard the accusation before, and I ain't gonna take any more. Believe me, the sun in your eyes made some of the lies worth believing. I am the eye in the sky, looking at you. I can read your mind. I am the maker of rules, dealing with fools. I can cheat you blind, and I don't need to see anymore to know that I can read your mind. 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 Don't leave false illusion behind.
You can hear it even in the song we are listening to right now, Eye in the Sky, with Sirius at its intro. These two tracks have served as the opening for the Alan Parsons Project's live shows. Sirius, a beautiful instrumental piece, has become a staple at many college and professional sporting events across North America, most famously at Chicago Bulls games. Meanwhile, Eye in the Sky is a powerful ballad that soars during the chorus while remaining much more subdued and calm in the verses. All of this is precisely what creates the magical atmosphere within the band. The beautiful blend of melody, powerful sound, and the structured composition of each song is exactly why the musicians love playing in this band. Sirius and Eye in the Sky is from the band's sixth studio album with the same name, Eye in the Sky, released in May 1982.
As far as my eyes can see, there are shadows approaching me. And to those I left behind, I wanted you to know you've always shared my deepest thoughts. You follow where I go. And oh, when I'm old
Old and Wise. The song we are listening to is the last track from the album Eye in the Sky. The song reached number 74 in the United Kingdom, the first of the band's singles to chart in that country. Colin Blunstone is singing this song. The beautiful saxophone solo at the end of the song is played by Mel Collins. Old and Wise was released as a single in December 1982.
You've always shared my darkest hours. I'll miss you when I go. And when I'm old and wise, heavy words that tossed and blew me, like autumn winds will blow right through me. And someday, in the midst of time, when they ask you if you knew me, remember that you were a friend of mine. As the final curtain falls.
Blunstone made several appearances on Alan Parsons' project albums, but Old and Wise was the only single with Blunstone as lead singer to gain airplay. An early version without orchestration or the saxophone solo featuring Eric Woolfson singing a guide vocal was included as one of the bonus tracks of the 2007 remastered edition of Eye in the Sky. Let's pick up with Eric Woolfson. So, we left off when he was collaborating with Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber. In 1971, with help from Eric Stewart, Kevin Godley and Graham Gouldman, who later formed 10cc, he released a single under the name Eric Elder. As I mentioned, the lyrics play a huge role in the Alan Parsons project, and this song is not exception. The words have deep meaning. Check them out online.
If you believe in the power of magic, I can change your mind. And if you need to believe in someone, turn and look behind. When we were living in a dream world, clouds got in the way. We gave it up in a moment of madness and threw it all away. Don't answer me, don't break the silence, don't let me win. Don't answer me, stay on your island, don't let me in. Run away and hide from everyone.
Oh, what a song.
Can you change the things we've said and done?
In the late 60s and early 70s, Woolfson worked as an independent record producer for several labels, working with artists like Dave Berry, The Equals and The Tremolos. Despite his success, he found it though to make a living as a songwriter, so he decided to try artist management. His move into management was a big hit. His first two signings were Carl Douglas, whose song Kung Fu Fighting in 1974 became one of the biggest selling hits of all time.
Don't answer me, don't break the silence, don't let me win. Don't answer me, stay on your island, don't let me in.
Same year in 1974, Wolfson and Parsons met and eventually formed the Alan Parsons Project, with the name originally intended as a working title for their collaboration. From 1976 to 1987, Wolfson and Parsons worked together on the conception and lyrics for all 10 albums by the band, which have sold over 50 million copies worldwide. Don't Answer Me is the title of this beautiful song we are listening to. It's from the album Ammonia Avenue, released in February 1984. Eric Wolfson himself sings this track, and the saxophone solo is played by Mel Collins once again.
It's been a long road. We've walked the last mile. We reached the same conclusion, and we stopped for a while. Together we know.
The song we are listening to is from the album Vulture Culture, released in 1985. The song is called Separate Lives. There is another song titled Separate Lives by Phil Collins, my favorite one, but as you can see, this one is much more rhythmic and uplifting.
Live our separate lives, go our different ways, 'cause we don't see eye to eye, and we can't stand face to face. We live our separate lives, while counting all the days till the two of us arrive in another time and place. We share the same thoughts, we read the same lines, we meet on sad occasion and in happier times.
Generally, you can feel that 80s vibe in this song and throughout the entire Vulture Culture album. It actually started from the 1984 Ammonia Avenue album, and the song we previously listened to, Don't Answer Me, was a good example of that. It is almost unbelievable how the band has adapted over time and how their style has harmoniously evolved from the heavy sound of the Raven and that entire era to this song, with its distinct 80s synth sound and patterns.
Go our different ways, 'cause we don't see eye to eye, and we can't stand face to face. We live our separate lives, while counting all the days till the two of us arrive in another time and place. And always goodbye.
In the end, this is music, and that's art in general. It is a living organism, breathing, feeling, and adapting to the passage of time. There are no boundaries for it. What truly matters is having good aesthetics and quality, whether it's heavy metal or disco pop.
Only for us to share. We live our separate lives, go our different ways, 'cause we don't see eye to eye, and we can't stand face to face. We live our separate lives.
Separate Lives is sang by the songwriter Eric Woolfson. In one of his interviews, Alan Parsons mentioned that Eric wanted to sing every song and actually recorded all the rough guide vocals for each track. However, it was Alan's responsibility to decide who sang or played what. Eric was the primary songwriter and lyricist. It was 1990 and Duo were recording a new album Freudiana. However, Woolfson wanted to turn it into a musical, and Parsons didn't. While recording the album, Brian Broley was introduced to Woolfson and promised to steer the album in this new direction. Broley was previously a partner of Andrew Lloyd Webber, and together they created musicals such as Cats. With some assistance from Broley, Woolfson was able to adapt Freudiana into a stage musical. This marked the point when Alan Parsons and Eric Woolfson went their separate ways. We are now listening to the song Stereotomy from the album of the same name. Stereotomy was released in the same year as the Vulture Culture album in 1985. The song still carries an 80s vibe but leans more toward a rock 80s sound rather than a pop 80s style. The song is sung by John Miles in the first part and Eric Woolfson in the second part. The album also features other great tracks such as the instrumental Where Is the Warless and Limelight, a beautiful song performed by Gary Brooker of Procol Harum.
Where the road may lead us, only a fool would say. Who knows if we'll meet along the way? Follow the brightest star as far as the brave may dare. What will we find when we get there?
Here is another track sung by John Miles with backing vocals by Eric Woolfson and Chris Rainbow. The song is called La Sagrada Familia. It is from their 10th and final album with Eric Woolfson, Gaudi, which was released in 1987. The song is dedicated to Antoni Gaudi, the Spanish architect, and it references what is possibly Gaudi's best-known building, the Sagrada Familia.
Follow a rising sun with eyes that may only stare. What kind of fire will burn us there? What kind of fire?
Project regular David Payton was unable to undertake bass duties on this recording due to a prior touring commitment with Elton John. Saxophonist keyboardist Richard Cuttle's brother Laurie was recruited to play bass. He would remain with the band for the Night of Proms concert in Belgium in 1990. Gaudi was the final canonical Alan Parsons Project studio album, as well as vocalist Lenny Zakatek's final contribution to any Parsons album. Although the album The Sicilian Defense was released in 2014, it was originally recorded in 1979 and was never intended to be heard by the public.
And for all those years, our eyes and ears were filled with tears. Oh, filled with tears. Oh.
After the band split, Alan Parsons went solo in 1993 with Try Anything Once. From the Gaudi album, the songs Closer to Heaven and Money Talks were featured in an episode of Miami Vice Season 3.
If it's getting harder to face every day, don't let it show. Don't let it show. Though it's getting harder to take what they say, just let it go. Just let it go. And if it hurts when they mention my name, say you don't know me. And if it helps when they say I'm to blame, say you don't know me. Ooh. Even if it's taking the easy way out, keep it inside of you, don't give in. Don't tell them anything. Don't let it show.
We are closing tonight's podcast with the song Don't Let It Show from the iRobot album, sung by Dave Townsend. Once again, the lyrics are meaningful, blending harmoniously with the beautiful melody to create the right atmosphere and warm the heart.
Even if you want to believe there's a way, I won't be there. I won't be there. But if you smile when they mention my name.
Since 1999, Alan Parsons has toured as the Alan Parsons Live Project with Wolfson's permission. The band currently includes lead singer PJ Olsen, guitarist Jeff Coleman, drummer Danny Thompson, keyboardist Tom Brooks, bassist Guy Ayres, vocalist saxophonist Todd Cooper, guitarist vocalist Dan Tracy, and Parsons on rhythm guitar, keyboards and vocals. In addition to gold and platinum awards from various countries, Parsons has earned 13 Grammy nominations. On December 2nd, 2009, Eric Woolfson passed away from kidney cancer in London. Woolfson was survived by his wife, daughters, and 4 grandchildren. In 2010, Alan Parsons released his single All Our Yesterdays. Since then, he has collaborated with many great artists on his own projects as well as others. As mentioned earlier, the Alan Parsons is still active and continues to perform live as the Alan Parsons Live Project. We reached the finish line and our 11th podcast has come to an end. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to send us emails and messages about this project. Let us know which songs, artists or bands you'd like to hear. You can message us in English, Greek or Georgian. Please don't call this number, just text us. We'll only respond to the messages related to the podcast. Our next podcast will stream next Sunday, February 2nd at the same time. We'll feature a great American musician, guitarist, singer and songwriter who has collaborated with legendary artists and bands like Steely Dan, Toto and Bonnie Raitt. His music spans country, soul, funk, jazz, fusion and pop rock. You've got time to figure it out who he is. So, till the next podcast, my friends. Bye.